The studio. The only thing that we're going to be doing today is hanging out, making art. I get some new furniture in the studio, and that's pretty fun. It's gonna be very chill. It's gonna be so chill. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna catch up. It's gonna be great. And I have some super exciting news to share with you guys on like multiple fronts. It's gonna be like an action-packed, but super chill video. So I hope you enjoy, and thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring the channel. So the first little bit of exciting news that I have for you guys is that I'm actually starting a brand new art mentorship. Like, I am taking the mentorship. It's with Brandon Gonzalez via Sentient Art Academy, and I think it's going to be a really good time. It's all about gouache and color in landscapes. If you guys are interested in checking Sentient Art Academy out, I do have an affiliate link with them, just so you know. I started this mentorship last week. You're seeing me do some of the homework for it right now in the next couple seconds here, and I haven't had art instruction, one-on-one art instruction like this since college. And I found that experience to be very hit or miss because a lot of the kind of classes that I was taking were very general. They were not really focused on the fundamentals. It was all about how you express yourself, and that is not the kind of art education that I find personally benefits me. My friend Mel was recently talking on Threads about how much they wish that art school was like trade school. And I really, really resonate with that. I wish that art school was like trade school and it focused on fundamental skill sets and how to actually like do the thing and achieve your vision, and less about like the touchy-feely part of it, which I think is important. But in order to, you know, fully express yourself and say what you want to say, you have to like have the language to say it, like the artistic skills to be able to convey that. So I am really excited to take especially my gouache painting to the next level. Gouache painting is not a thing that I do very often. It's a medium that I love and that I used to use all of the time, but I feel like as I have focused more and more on oil painting, I have been leaving other mediums that I used to care a lot about behind, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like as I get an urge to work larger, I am going to need to have like a solid pre-production process for those larger oil paintings. And I think that could work really well with gouache. I think that doing value studies and color studies and composition studies and like all of those kinds of things in gouache in a sketchbook would work really well. I just want some kind of like lower barrier to entry part of my creative practice. And I think this mentorship will help me like have the tools to do that. And I'm really excited for it. The advice that I've gotten from Brandon so far has been really, really helpful. The first painting that you're seeing from me for this mentorship should look a little familiar. The reference photo that I'm using for this is one that I've already used for a painting. I used it for like that big circle oil painting from a few months ago earlier in this year, and I love this reference photo. I really want to get back out to Point Reyes and Chimney Rock Trail, which is where this photo was taken, and get some more reference material because the overcast, foggy day that I took this photo on is lovely, but I kind of wonder what it would look like in full sun and also, you know, sunset. So I don't know. I want to go back there and I want to capture those cliffs, those like kind of gorgeous kind of rolling cliffs into the sea and all these rocks and like this nice sea foam in varying times of day. I think that could be really compelling and interesting. Yeah, I really want to get out to the California coast more. I really want to just live my life more so I can take more of these reference photos, because as much as I, you know, enjoy working from, I don't know, do I even enjoy it? I'm not even sure. as much as I can tolerate and find, more versatility in photo reference that I find online, I am a lot more drawn to the photo reference that I take myself. I can get everything that I want in a photo reference when I take it myself. I can get the composition just right, the exposure, the sharpness. I can really, be experimental with it. I hate it when photos are too sharp and they have too much detail. So I use diffusion filters on every single one of my lenses, and I have vintage glass that kind of blurs things even more, and it has some interesting bokeh going on. And I love doing stuff like that. This particular gouache painting that you're seeing me work on right now, this little study, the first homework for this mentorship was actually to do entirely black and white studies, like value studies. So that is what this is, and like kind of all the paintings that you'll be seeing today in this video are. But the problem is that I didn't actually have any black paint. I had grays, I had these dark colors. I am using the Holbein Iridori, so Japanese gouache. I really love it. I think eventually I ended up finding some Holbein acrylic gouache in black that I ended up using at the very, very end. But the majority of this first little study was just shades of gray and a black that I mixed myself. And I ended up liking it, honestly. Not to spoil the video for you, but out of all of the paintings that I do in this video, I like this one the most. I'm not sure if it's the reference photo or my kind of tiled approach to the painting. And what I mean by that is that I kind of had all these grays mixed up, and they were kind of wet and tacky. And I didn't have like that tea consistency with gouache that you get when you dry it out. I was using like totally fresh gouache and mixing it on the palette. And I kind of, had all these different values, and I was picking things up and putting them in the places. And I don't use that approach again, really. I usually later on in the video will do a wash and then, finding the values later on. And I do somewhat feel like that was a mistake that I really liked and found a lot of success with the, like the sticky, more tactile gouache that had some body left to it where I wasn't adding too much water. It's interesting. It's so interesting to like find my footing again with these mediums and make stuff that looks terrible and also make stuff that I'm proud of. And I think this is one of those pieces that I ended up being really proud of. So from there, we actually move on to the second painting on this particular page. This, it's funny because this is also a reference photo that I took myself on this same hike, as the first one. But it's just like, I think almost 90 degrees turned to the left, and it's like the trail. So here, like the first one, was like just the ocean, right? The second one, we're seeing the bay and the rolling hills of Point Reyes and like the trailhead. But I just didn't ever find my footing with this particular piece. I thought because I had not too long ago made an oil painting of like a nice like kind of hiking trail-y kind of path in some rolling hills, that I knew what I was doing and that it wasn't going to be so hard. But I found like the finicky little details of this kind of degraded trail. So like, we have some sandy soil here with grass and like a fence, and it's like there's some slope to it. I thought that it wouldn't be too hard, but all the finicky details made actually capturing the depth of the scene and the perspective quite challenging. So I never quite get it. I think it also at this point, all the gouache on my palette, I'm not sure if it was the next day or later that same day, but all the gouache on my palette had mostly dried up. And so I wasn't working with that like sticky, tacky, fresh gouache anymore. And it was so hard to keep my gouache like wet and fresh the whole time in the first painting. And so I just gave up for the second. But I think I shouldn't have given up so quickly. I think I should have tried harder, because the results, in my opinion, just speak for themselves. You can see them side by side, and I don't know, it was not, I think, my favorite of the bunch. But very quickly, my new bookcase arrived for the studio, and so I had to take a break from doing this and put some books away. One thing that I discovered while moving is that I have a lot of art books. A lot. I don't even think that I brought all of them over from my house yet. I think I still have some tucked away in the attic where my bedroom is. I was realizing, like, while I was putting all of these away and unpacking them and stuff, that I don't look at them as often as I should. I don't talk about them as often as I should. I don't know. It's a struggle when you're a creator, right? Because making videos that get views is a big part of my job, and I have kind of been bad at that this year. I haven't made as many hits, and that's a little stressful. But I don't know, I want to figure out ways to make content around art books that'll be really interesting. So you might see more of that from me soon. But anyway, books all put away. I actually had some new brushes to unbox. My favorite brush company by far is Rosemary & Co. I got some new oil painting brushes, kind of fleshing out my collection. As you accumulate more brushes from various brands as an oil painter, you kind of have your favorites. And then I think it's personally nice to have multiples of the same brush so that I can use like one for light colors and one for dark colors without having to constantly clean them when I'm in the middle of painting and I want to use the same brush. So I got some new ones. They're gorgeous. I love them so much. And I also got some brushes specifically for gouache painting from Rosemary & Co. These are very nice, like short-handled brushes. And this box, this like Chinese calligraphy brush box, was so gorgeous. I had no idea they came in such a gorgeous box. I want to keep that box forever. It's beautiful. And the brushes inside look amazing. I have tried one out. You will see it later in this video. And I love how much they hold on to water and like the super fine strokes you can get and how versatile it is. You can go from super fine to a huge wash in like no time at all, and it's amazing. The handles, especially on these brushes, guys, are gorgeous. This is not paid. Rosemary & Co. is not paying me to do this. I just really like them so much. And so I spent some time organizing my brush collection since I had, just moved into this space and just kind of assembling the various zones of my new studio. Once I had kind of spent the whole week making art and unpacking and stuff, we actually went on a very spur-of-the-moment road trip. So my boyfriend noticed that the Friday aurora was going to be really good, and unfortunately he did not go out and see it, even though it totally would have been visible to us. So we very impulsively decided on Saturday morning to drive up and see if we could find more aurora that evening. So at 7 a.m. I woke up, had this plan. By 2 p.m. we had booked a rental car, an Airbnb, and wrangled 5 of our other friends, so 7 people, including the 2 of us, and we drove, must have been like 12 hours total, to Southern Oregon around the Crater Lake area, and did some amazing stargazing, but unfortunately saw no aurora, so that sucked. But I don't know, it was a fine trip overall, right? And anyway, after a very long weekend, I made it back in the studio and wanted to do a little bit more gouache paintings, some black and white value studies for my mentorship, and yeah, they're not sponsoring this video. I just like talking about them, to be super clear. But it's just, I don't know, it's nice to have such a fast medium to work with. It's such a nice break from oil painting, though I do want to get into that again, of course, very, very soon. I was actually invited to participate in an art exhibition, like a little event in July. I got the email literally this morning, and it's happening in SF in late July. And I think it's going to be super cool. I have never, the last time that I exhibited my work was probably in college when I was working in acrylics. So I haven't displayed my oil paintings ever. I think it's going to be a really interesting experience. I never see that side of the art world anymore. I think it's going to be a really good time. And now I'm like really stressed out and overwhelmed because I have to work larger super fast and make a bunch of new work to be able to fill that space for that experience, that opportunity. But I think it's going to be a really cool time. Yeah, I'm just doing some more gouache paintings, just kind of like hanging out. I wasn't trying to put a lot of pressure on myself. Yeah, I feel like it's really important to have moments in your creative practice where you're just playing and you're just like not thinking too hard about it. You're just trying to practice a little bit. I think it's a really valuable part of being a creative. So often I want to plan everything out and mix all of my colors in advance, and that is a huge part of who I am as a person. But I also feel like it's really important to sometimes not plan everything out and take it, one step at a time. Um, this was a little photo that I took on that little weekend trip of this super dilapidated barn near the Airbnb that we stayed at. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a fine painting for like a quick value study with like no real plan. I think it turned out okay, but yeah, not like my best work or anything. Before I let you guys go, I do want to give a big shout out and a huge thank you to Squarespace, who is sponsoring the channel this year, and their support is just, it means so much to me. They are a huge value add for any creator, and I just want to tell you guys a little bit about him just in case you don't know. So I recently launched a brand new coaching/slash mentorship program, and using Squarespace made an absolute breeze. Their fluid design engine allowed me to drag things around until it looked just right. And because Squarespace has an image library with all of the other content on my website, I was able to save some time by not having to re-upload things and just pull images like a headshot of me from other pages. Then all I had to do was add text, a few buttons, and I was all set. Squarespace makes it really easy to design a website that can be a home for everything I do online as a creative. I sell physical products like prints and blankets, as well as digital stuff like workbooks and Notion templates. You could write a blog, show off your work in a portfolio, or even host an online course or a membership service all on your website. And it's perfectly consistent with your brand and your identity as a creative. They have third-party plugins to help with things like taxes, shipping, and inventory management, and Squarespace just makes it really easy to launch your art business. If you want to give it a try, you can go to squarespace.com/Kelsey Rodriguez or use code Kelsey Rodriguez at checkout to get 10% off your first order of a website or a domain. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.